How a country remembers trauma and violence says so much about its ability to confront and heal the past. This week's episode, we take you through the AMIN torture chambers, right here in the Lubili, the Kabaka, King of Buganda's palace. Idi Amin Dada became famous as the most brutal and despotic ruler, reached president of Uganda in the 1970s, and probably the most notorious of all Africa's post-independence dictators. He seized power in a military coup in 1971 and ruled over Uganda for 8 years. Estimates for the number of his opponents who were either killed, tortured, or imprisoned vary from 100,000 to 500,000. Among the various places he would torture his opponents, one has outstood the rest and turned out to be a significant tourism destination. This week's travel episode will showcase the AMIN torture chambers. Located on the spacious Mengo Palace grounds, the official home of the Buganda king, which depicts a great history, just on the right sloping downwards into the narrow cement tunnel with 4 rooms on a platform, lies the AMIN torture chambers. We found quite a number of tourists, both international and domestic, especially pupils from different schools, who come here to learn about Uganda's history and especially its dark past. Now, visiting these AMIN torture chambers gives us a vivid imagination of the dark history that transpired then. Considering that nearly 70% of the population was born well after 1979, the year when Idi Amin went into exile, the instinctive quality and enormity of his brutality has perhaps lowered in the public consciousness.
Idi, he built this in 1971, and he used his rights, and he kept his weapons for only 8 months in this place. After he was told that Obote, his former boss, was in Tanzania mobilizing, he turned this into a torture chamber. In 1972, he started killing Obote's supporters and other political threats in the country. In a period of 7 years, he killed over 90,000 people in here. In 1981, Obote came back for the second time. He was told about Idi's behaviors. He also paid back by killing Idi's men in the same place. For 4 years, he killed over 6,000 people. So altogether, Idi Amin and Obote, in a period of 11 years, they killed more than 25,000 people in here.
In that aspect, when people died and were the bodies taken out, or they were left in within the people who had not yet died?
Mostly in the night, trucks were here loading bodies on them, and most of the bodies were dumped in Lake Victoria, eaten by the Nile crocodiles. Others put in the King's Lake, somewhere down. Others thrown along the roadsides here in Kampala. So the bodies were not left behind. They are kind of fingerprints left behind by the prisoners. The water here was dirty, and as people were forced in, they ended up touching and leaving all those marks behind.
Yes.
So it really showed that people here, this was not a safe place. No one escaped. All the people brought here, they died.
Even if
he never killed women and children. And these were political threats. He killed intellectuals, the doctors, lawyers, university lecturers, dons, and many high priests.
Which is the biggest number between domestic tourists and the foreign tourists?
Like in East Africa, the people who visit us most, they are Kenyans. We get many visitors from Kenya. And in Uganda, again, schools. And outside Africa, people from the US, Europe, and Asia.
originally designed to store the army's weapons. We were told that they were commissioned to be built by the Israelis, who had not the slightest idea that the purpose of these cemented underground caves would be altered upon completion. They were used for some of humanity's worst atrocities.
He kept his weapons for only 8 months in this place. So after he was told that Obote, his former boss, was in Tanzania mobilizing, Idi Amin turned this into torture chamber.
As I climbed the shaky steps into one of the dark rooms, I was thrilled into a state of horror, a feeling I found very haunting. There are no lights to illuminate the room. Here we are seeing just smears and footprints, fingerprints of different people that I so much believe that are people who passed on in this particular room here within the AMIN torture chambers. As I stood there, I saw walls written covered in messages of despair, written in blood and dirt. One read, "Cry for help, me the dying." Others are simply handprints, a stark reminder of those who once lived.
Each morning, the top officers, they would come, switch off the electricity, walked through this water into the rooms, picking out bodies, and for those who seemed very weak, were again pushed in the same water to be electrocuted, this time to make sure they are dead.
We found the torture chambers very haunting. It is imperative to note that much as the destination is named after Idi Amin, Milton Obote also used the same as his torture headquarters.
In 1981, Obote came back for the second time, and he was told about Idi's behaviors. He also paid back. He revenged, killing Idi's supporters, and killed 6,000 in a period of 4 years. So altogether, Idi Amin and Obote, in 11 years, they killed more than 25,000 people in here.
It could be a question of under whose leadership tortured the biggest number of people that Idi Amin was named after what has turned out to be a major tourist attraction in the Pearl of Africa.
So sad that little is known about this place. Most Ugandans have not been here, so people need to come and see a lot. They come to know where we have come from.
Tourists who visit Lubiri Palace, the official home to the King of Buganda in Kampala, the capital city of Uganda, have a chance to visit torture chambers used by Idi Amin that were originally an armory, but was later converted into a prison where an estimated 19,000 people died from hunger, suffocation, and mass electrocution.
There are lots of writings on the walls.
Yes.
Most visitors we get, especially the local visitors, they seem to be relatives of the victims. And each time they pay a visit, these people, they write. Like here, this lady, she was here just a few years back, and this is what she left on the wall. She wrote, she wanted to write, "I never forget.
Yeah.
My husband was killed, people of Obote." Sometimes when I get Obote's men, they say, "No, this was Idi Amin," because the world knows he was a bad man. And also, when I get Idi's men, they also talk about Obote. So the two presidents killed innocent Ugandans in this place. We need to have maybe like signages around here, but inside I think the authenticity is very important. Inside we don't need to change anything because we want people to have that feel. Because it was built by Idi Amin. And again, Obote did not kill many like Idi. Like I said that he killed over 19,000 people, Idi Amin. And Obote killed more than 6,000 people. So the name still, it still goes to Idi Amin. Okay? Mm.
The lack of attention to the immoralities of the past might also have something to do with the nation's conflicted feelings towards a despot once described as certifiably brutal.
In 1967, the monarchies were abolished in the country, and the palace grounds turned into military barracks. Then in 1971, when Idi Amin came to power, he continued to use the same grounds as the military barracks. And then when President Museveni came in 1986, he stopped all the killings. Then 1997 gave back the palace to the kingdom, or the palace grounds.
Greeting me also.
Dark tourism is one of the unique tourism components where a dark past of a place is showcased and recalled for study purposes, reconciliation and adventure.
On 24th of May 1966, because this was the day when the palace was attacked or stormed, we chose to teach or to come out on radio stations and TV stations to teach young ones so that they don't ever make the same mistakes the past leaders did.
Webabeetoloozanga anti bagendanga obbaleeta muneeno mu mpuku nga balowooza bali mu byalo bali wantu wala nnyo. We baleetanga abantu basookanga batulugunya era ne babateeka mu mazzi omwo babatulugunya okubajjangamu amawulire agakwata kwani Obote.
I learned that this place was so bad. I think many people suffered.
Seriously, I've been hearing people talking about where AMIN was killing people from. I didn't know that. So for the first time I've seen the press.
When you talk about palace, they think of the main palace, the building, and they don't know this side. That's why maybe they are not, they don't know much about it. Otherwise, if they knew what takes place here, they would be visiting.
The NBS Travel Show will continue to bring you captivating and thrilling episodes of the like.